There is one team in the AFC playoff hunt that has the bottom 5 teams in the conference in the remaining schedule with a combined record of 4-26. Can they avoid messing it up? Time for another look at the NFL playoff race, AFC version, heading into Week 7. The calculations come from the Playoff Computer app. Check it out for your fantasy football or just about any head-to-head league. All sorts of geeky data. You can even analyze pro leagues like the NFL. And for an entire year, the premium level is about the price of one beer. Okay, before we go through the teams, let's update the interconference records. The AFC held their own in Week 6, but still lost a little ground. And the NFC remains on record-setting pace, now up 22-12. That does mean there are not as many wins spread around the AFC. So, for example, a 4-2 record in the AFC is slightly more valuable than the NFC. Things are mitigated a little bit as most of the carnage in the AFC is showing up in the bottom feeders of the conference. So it might end up being a moot point as far as what it takes to get a wild card spot. Anyway, moving on. The team in the AFC with the highest statistical chance to make the playoffs is still the Indianapolis Colts. They faced maybe a bit tougher test from the Cardinals' backup QB than they were expecting, but managed to escape victorious, which is exactly what good teams tend to do. With the Jaguars losing, they have the top of the AFC South out to themselves. On the surface, it looks like a battle between them and the Jaguars for the division, and they are approaching 9 out of 10 chances to make the playoffs. 10 wins is still barely what it looks like to be safe, meaning they should be halfway home. And while there is no reason to not get excited about their chances, note they have one win that could be defined as quality over the Broncos. They have feasted on an easy strength of schedule so far, exactly what they need to do, but things are going to be dramatically tougher here on in. Chargers next, away. Steelers in a few weeks, away. Have the Chiefs a couple after that, away. Still 2 against Jacksonville, still 2 against Houston. Have a game against the Seahawks, away. And a game against the 49ers. So they might need to absolutely continue to win the easily winnable games, like the Titans next week, to weather the incoming storm. The Steelers keep on pinching themselves to see if they're in a dream. For the 3rd consecutive week, everyone else in the AFC North lost, and of course one of them being their stifling of the Browns offense. They now enjoy a 2.5 game lead over the Bengals in the division, puts them at about 7 out of 10 to win the AFC North. They are another team that does have a gut check run coming up. Bengals and Cincinnati. Maybe Flacco, if a week of practice makes them competitive at home. Then the Packers, Colts, and Chargers. They should just need to take 2 of those to keep their current huge advantage in the division. The Los Angeles Chargers got a crucial victory to halt a 2-game losing streak and help ease the pain of their injury woes. Unfortunately for them, everyone else in the division also won as well. So while they are technically in first place, they know they have a bigger target on their back than John Wick. They still enjoy the knowledge of not being able to lose the head-to-head tiebreaker against any of their division mates. they probably don't enjoy the knowledge that their upcoming schedule includes the two teams in front of them in the race. So gut check for everyone between the Colts, Steelers, and Chargers as they all play each other over the next few weeks. Will they beat each other up, or will one of them assert themselves? Your guess is as good as mine. How about a game of who is this team? We have a team with a 4-2 record, which in the AFC is almost like gold, but none of their victories have been against anyone with more than one win, and they are now 0-2 against any team that isn't already thinking of next year. Of course, we are talking about the Buffalo Bills. Have now lost 2 in a row to cede first place in the AFC East to the Patriots. Obviously, 4-2 is still in good shape. They have a decent 3-1 conference record, still around 7 in 10 mathematical odds to make the playoffs. Should just need to hover around 500 the rest of the way. Don't have the toughest remaining schedule. Still get to play the Jets and Dolphins again. But after their bye this week, go up against the gritty Panthers, which you know they would love to put another surprising win onto their resume. Then the Chiefs. So while they will probably be just fine, later games with the Bengals and Browns, looking at their overall remaining schedule, I can easily paint a picture, if they lose to the Panthers, that has them finish at 9-8, which if I plug into the computer right now, that is about an 88% chance. If I change the Panthers game to a win and put them at 10-7, it removes almost all doubt. So a seemingly trivial game for a preseason favorite looks pretty big. The Jaguars lost to the Seahawks in a surprising bruiser of a game to drop to 4-2. Being non-conference doesn't hurt too many of their tiebreaker records. Trailing the Colts by 1 game, about a 1-3 chance to win the division. Have what at the current moment is a nice IOU slip to hold with the win against the Chiefs. They continue with another tough NFC West opponent in the Rams. Winner stays above the fray in their respective conference. Loser is tossed into the slop to fight it out. In one of those mathematical oddities, the New England Patriots come in next, ahead of the Bills in the standings with a better chance to win the division, but a slightly lower chance to make the playoffs according to the computer, with the 2-2 conference record being a factor. But they have a good chance to tell the stats to go to hell as they continue a stretch of playing 1-win teams. Drake May led them to a big win over the Saints in a slugfest. They now get the Titans and Browns, all part of a remaining schedule that features a whopping 8 teams that are currently below 500. If I sign them up for wins in these next 2 games to put them at 6-2, that would put their playoff odds to around 86%. With that lovely remaining schedule, you have to like their chances, even without having a competent running game. The Broncos are up next after that masterful and thoroughly enjoyable London game. Oh wait, wrong script. I think they were lucky to have played the Jets and Justin Fields. And only through their defense did they sneak back to the colonies with a win, keeping pace with the Chargers. They do have that loss to the Chargers to contend with. 3-2 conference record, but the 3 wins are looking meaningless for head-to-head purposes, as they are all against teams that are not expected to be in the same zip code as the playoff race. With the 4-2 record, obviously not in bad shape, but they are going to need to kick into overdrive early and take care of business. Have the Giants and Cowboys at home, then Texans away, Raiders at home. I would say they need to come out of that at 7-3 as they finish with the likes of the Chiefs twice, Commanders, Packers, Jaguars, and Chargers, which certainly could derail their season. Next up are the Chiefs, seemingly biding their time at 3-3 after an impressive victory over the Lions, ready to strike and zoom to the top of the charts as they seem fit. Standing in their way this week are a Raiders team that maybe if Geno Smith can only throw to the guys with the pirate logo, they might have a chance. Some potential thrillers upcoming before their bye against the Commanders and Bills, so things could still get very interesting and very challenging for the Chiefs. Right now, under a 1-5 chance to win the division, and basically at the same odds to make the playoffs as every team started with. Just for grins, if I give the Raiders the upset win, have the Chiefs beat the Commanders but lose to the Bills, 4-5 would put them down to a shade over 1-4 to make the playoffs. The Texans return from their slumber, attempting to continue to overcome an 0-3 start that put them in a huge hole. Close to 40% chance to make the playoffs. They would have a lot of work to do in any case, but their remaining schedule on paper with current records is brutal. Seahawks, 49ers, Broncos, Jaguars coming up all 4-2, with the division looking like it's going to be between the Colts and Jaguars. The Texans are likely going to need 9 to 10 wins for a wild card, so each of these next 4 is going to be huge. I'm thinking probably they need to take 3 of the 4. Maybe you could get away with splitting them, but 3-6 would likely be a death blow. The Bengals did put up a little bit of a fight against the Packers with Joe Flacco coming in, but still lost their 4th in a row. In order to save their season, they're going to need to beat their arch rivals, the Steelers, at home this week. That would give them a chance to claw back to even against the Jets next week. The Raiders got in on the everyone in the AFC West winning party to at least remain on the outskirts of this conversation. If they can beat the Chiefs this week before their bye, they might even get invited to the adults table. The Ravens unraveling continued with a trouncing by the Rams. They do get their bye to hopefully have Lamar get healthy for an attempt at a miracle comeback. But at 1-5 right now, just a 13% chance and not much room for error. The Cleveland Browns seem to take 2 steps back after some promising developments, and at 1-5 with an 0-3 division record, they are almost done for. 2 of their next 3, however, Dolphins and Jets, so we won't throw the dirt on yet. Yet another team in the crowded 1-5 room is the Tennessee Titans, who decided the blame was with their head coach. Unlike the Browns, their upcoming schedule is not as conducive to becoming any more relevant. Patriots, Colts, and Chargers. Get your popcorn out for the impending explosion in Miami. 1-5 with a quarterback that somehow doesn't think it's his fault as the team leader that players-only meetings aren't going well. Like many, I fell once again for the thought that maybe the Jets were going to surprise the league at least a little bit. I guess they have, in how horribly bad they've been. They are the first team to lose control of their own destiny, meaning that even if they were to win out, there is at least one oddball possibility that could leave them out of the playoffs with an 11-6 record, which actually might be the most Jets thing that could happen. That's it for now. Check out the Playoff Computer app for all your own playoff race analysis needs, and enjoy your day.